The silence in our house used to feel like peace. Now, it feels like a holding breath. I sit at the mahogany dining table, the one Sarah insisted we buy because it looked timeless, and watch a reflection in the darkened window of the patio door. She is humming, a soft, airy tune that used to make me smile. Today, it makes my skin crawl. Everything in our life is curated, polished to a high shine that blinds anyone looking from the outside. We are the couple people envy. Mark and Sarah, married 8 years, no kids yet, just 2 thriving careers in a house that looks like a museum of domestic bliss. I look at my hands. They are steady, but my heart is doing a frantic dance against my ribs. I remember the way she looked at me this morning, that same practice warmth, the way she tucked a stray hair behind her ear and told me she'd be late coming back from the gallery opening. I believed her. I always believe her. That is my role in this play. I am the rock, the provider, the man who doesn't ask too many questions because he trusts the ground he walks on. But the ground is shifting. There's a scent in the air that doesn't belong, a hint of a cologne that isn't mine. Lingering on the coat she threw over the chair. It's subtle, almost invisible, but I become a detective in my own home. I notice the way she guards her phone, the way she smiles at the screen when she thinks I'm looking at the television. The perfect illusion isn't just a phrase. It's the cage I've been living in. I feel invisible even as she looks directly at me. She walks over and kisses my cheek. Her lips are cold. I'm going to jump in the shower. Honey, it was such a long day. I nod, forcing a smile that feels like a crack in a porcelain mask. As soon as the bathroom door clicks shut and the water begins to hiss against the tile, I stand up. My legs feel heavy, like I'm walking through deep water. I head toward her designer handbag, the one she treats like a sacred relic. My fingers tremble as I reach for the zipper. I've never done this before. I've always been a man who respects boundaries. But boundaries are for people who aren't being lied to. I pull the zipper back. The sound is deafening in the quiet room. My heart hammers. I trusted them. Not just her, but the life we built together. I reach inside, moving past her wallet, her expensive lipstick, and her silk scarf. My hand hits something small, plastic, and unmistakable. I pull it out, a box of men's protection. My breath hitches. We haven't used these in years. We've been trying for a baby, or so she said. The box is half empty. The world tilts on its axis. The hiss of the shower continues, a rhythmic reminder that the woman I love is just a few feet away, washing off the evidence of another man. This was the moment everything changed. I am no longer the husband. I am a witness to my own execution. I stare at the box in my palm. It feels heavy like a lead weight. I think back to every late night at the gallery, every girl's weekend, every time she told me she was exhausted and just needed sleep. It wasn't exhaustion. It was a lifestyle. I feel a wave of nausea, so strong I have to lean against the kitchen counter. She thought I wouldn't fight back. She thought I was too weak, too invested in our perfect image to ever look under the hood. The betrayal isn't just the act. It's a meticulous, daily construction of a lie. She sat across from me at dinner and talked about our future while carrying the tools of her infidelity in her purse. She kissed me with the same mouth she used to whisper secrets to him. I feel a coldness start to spread through my veins, replacing the heat of the initial shock. It's a calculated, freezing clarity. I hear the water turn off. I quickly shove the box back into bag, making sure everything looks exactly as it did. I retreat to the sofa and pick up a book, my eyes blurring over the words. When she emerges, wrapped in a fluffy white towel, smelling of lavender and betrayal, she looks like an angel. It's sickening. "You still up?" she asks, tilting her head with that innocent curiosity she's perfected. "Just finishing a chapter." I say, my voice is steady. I am surprised by my own capacity for deception. If she can play a role, so can I. I watch her climb into bed, her movements graceful and unbothered. She falls asleep within minutes, her breathing deep and regular. I lie beside her, staring at the ceiling, feeling the ghost of the box in the other room. I start to piece it together. The man is likely Julian, the artist she'd been mentoring for the last 6 months. He's younger, edgy, and always seems to be around when I'm not. I remember the way they laughed together at the Christmas party, a private, intimate sound that I chose to ignore because I didn't want to be the jealous husband. I was a fool. I was the architect of my own blindness. Sleep doesn't come. Instead, a plan begins to form. It's dark and it's petty, but the pain in my chest demands a release. I think about the super glue I have in the garage from fixing the crown molding last week. It's industrial grade, permanent. I think about the box in her bag. A slow, jagged smile spreads across my face in the darkness. They want to play games? We'll play. The next morning is a blur of fake smiles and bitter coffee. Sarah is in a rush, buzzing around the kitchen, talking about a private viewing she has to attend this afternoon. I might be late again, Mark. Don't wait up for dinner. I watch her zip up her bag, the bag containing the box. No problem. Sarah, take your time. I have some projects in the garage to finish anyway. As soon as she leaves, I head to the workbench. I grab the tiny tube of glue. My hands are no longer trembling. They are precise. I spend the next hour in a state of hyperfocus. I think about every lie she told me, every time I felt invisible in my own marriage. This isn't just about revenge. It's about reclaiming a sense of agency. She took my trust and shattered it. I'm just going to make sure her next encounter is just as broken. I know her schedule. She'll come home to change before her private viewing. I wait. I sit in the darkened office, watching the driveway. When she pulls in, I move. I slip into the mudroom where she always drops her bag. She's upstairs, probably picking out her cheating outfit. I work quickly. I open the box. I apply the glue with the precision of a surgeon. It's colorless, odorless, and devastating. I seal everything back up. I hear her footsteps on the stairs. I duck into the kitchen and grab a glass of water. She walks in, wearing a dress that's a little too short, a little too tight. I'm off, she chirps. She looks beautiful. It breaks my heart all over again, but the breakage feels different now. It feels like a shedding of skin. Have fun, I say. My voice is a low rasp. She doesn't even notice. She's already out the door, heading toward the man she thinks is her secret. The hours that follow are an agonizing crawl. I sit in the dark, the silence of the house finally matching the silence in my soul. I imagine the scene, the hotel room, the hushed tones, the sudden, horrific realization that something is very, very wrong. I feel a dark sense of satisfaction, but it's hollow. Underneath the anger is a void where my life used to be. I realize that once this is done, there is no going back. There is no us to save. I start packing a bag, just the essentials. I don't want the timeless table or the museum piece house. I want out of the illusion. I look at our wedding photo on the mantel. Two people who no longer exist. I remember the vows. To honor and cherish. She failed the honor. I'm done with the cherishing. I leave the photo face down. Around 10 p.m., the phone rings. It's an unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. Then it rings again. And again. Finally, a text comes through from Sarah's number, but the tone is frantic, unlike her. Mark, something happened. I'm at the ER. Please come. It's an emergency. I feel a jolt of electricity. It worked, but the reality of it is heavier than the fantasy. I don't feel like a victor. I feel like a survivor of a wreck I helped cause. I drive to the hospital slowly. I'm in no rush to see the wreckage. When I walk into the waiting room, I see Julian. He's sitting in a chair, looking pale and terrified, clutching his side. He looks up at me, and for a second, our eyes lock. He knows. He has to know. The shame in his eyes is the only confirmation I need. I walk past him without a word, heading toward the intake desk. The nurse looks at me with a mixture of pity and confusion. Are you the husband? I nod. She leads me to a private curtained area. Sarah's lying there, her face tear-stained, her dignity in tatters. The medical emergency is exactly what I intended. A painful, humiliating disaster that required professional intervention. When she sees me, she starts to sob. Mark, I don't know how it was an accident. I stand at the foot of the bed. I don't offer a hand. I don't offer comfort. I just look at her. The glue was in the garage. Sarah, right next to the honesty you lost a long time ago. The color drains from her face. The sobbing stops instantly. The silence that follows is the loudest thing I've ever heard. She realizes I knew. She realizes this wasn't a freak accident. It was a mirror. You did this? She whispers, her voice trembling with a mix of horror and rage. You could have hurt me. I lean in closer. You hurt me every single day you walked out that door and lied to my face. You hurt me every time you let that man touch you in the bed I paid for. Don't talk to me about hurt. I feel a surge of power I've never known. They thought I wouldn't fight back. They were wrong. I turn to leave. Mark, wait. You can't leave me here like this, she screams. Her voice is shrill, stripped of its curated grace. People are staring. I don't care. I'm not leaving you here, Sarah. I'm leaving you everywhere. The house is yours. The lies are yours. I'm taking my life back. I walk out of the ER, past Julian, who is still cowering in the corner, and into the cool night air. But I'm not done. A story like this deserves an audience. Sarah's entire world is built on her reputation in the local art scene. She's a virtuous gallery owner, the pillar of the community. I spend the next day gathering the evidence I've been quietly collecting. The phone logs I recover from our shared cloud, the photos of Julian's car at our house while I was at work, and the receipts for the hotel rooms she thought I never saw. I don't send them to her parents or her friends. I go bigger. I wait for the annual gala, the biggest night of her year. Everyone will be there. The donors, the press, the city's elite. I prepare a tribute video. On the surface, it's a celebration of her career, but I've embedded files that tell a different story. I feel a cold, surgical detachment. This is a strategic comeback. She wanted a stage. I'm giving her a spotlight. The night of the gala arrives. I dress in my best suit. I look like the supportive husband one last time. Sarah is there, looking recovered but anxious, her eyes darting around the room. She hasn't spoken to me since the hospital. She thinks I'm there to reconcile. She thinks the emergency stayed between us. She still doesn't understand who I've become. I'm not the victim anymore. I'm the director. The lights dim. The screen at the front of the ballroom glows. And now, the MC announces a special look at the woman behind the vision, Sarah Bennett. I stand in the back, a glass of champagne in my hand. The video starts with clips of her working, her smiling. Then the music shifts, a low, rhythmic beat. Screenshots of her text to Julian begin to scroll. I can't wait to see you. He suspects nothing. He's so boring compared to you. The room goes dead silent. You could hear a pin drop on the velvet carpet. Sarah stands frozen in the center of the room, the blue light of the screen washing over her face. She looks like a ghost. Then, the photos of the emergency incident, not the graphic ones, but the hospital records and the image of Julian in the waiting room, flash across the screen. The murmur begins, a low, rising tide of shock and disgust. I see her look at me. Her eyes are wide, pleading, then sharpening into pure hatred. I just raise my glass. A silent toast to the end of the illusion. I don't need to say a word. The truth is doing all the work for me. People begin to pull away from her, literally creating a physical gap around her in the middle of the ballroom. She is suddenly, utterly alone in a room full of people. I walk out before the lights come back on. I don't need to see the fallout. I've already felt the release. The air outside is crisp and clean. I get into my car and drive. I don't have a destination yet, just a direction. Away. For years, I thought my identity was tied to being her husband, her partner, her half. I realize now that I was just a backdrop for her ego. The divorce is quick. She doesn't fight it. She can't. Her reputation is ruined. Her gallery is failing. And Julian disappeared the moment things got complicated. She lost everything she valued. The status, the money, the image. I lost a family, or at least the idea of one. But as I sit in my new small apartment, looking out at a city that doesn't know my name, I feel a lightness I haven't felt since I was a child. I am no longer invisible. I am no longer waiting for the other shoe to drop. The silence in this house is real peace, not a holding breath. I've learned that you can't build a life on a foundation of lies and expect it to stand. I've learned that my worth isn't determined by someone else's loyalty. Sometimes losing your family is the price of finding yourself.